What's up everybody, Haitian Homie, and today we're going to be taking a look at the weekly recap, telling you everything that you need to know about Overwatch League and Contenders from Monday, February 18th, all the way through Sunday, February 24th. So in case you missed anything, hopefully this will fill you in and get you on the right track going into Week 3. We start off with Monday, February 18th. If you'll remember, there used to be a team called Toronto Esports. But then there was a whole blow up with that team, and Toronto Esports, which could have been the Toronto Defiant Academy team, ended up no longer being affiliated with them and went over to become the Boston Uprising Academy team. So we have a new team coming up called the Montreal Rebellion. And the Montreal Rebellion signed a handful of players, Naga, Logix, and Nomi on Monday, February 18th. So Logix, you may remember from the Florida Mayhem. We were kind of wondering where he would go next. Nomi, we know him as a previous player for the San Francisco Shock. And then Naga is a projectile DPS player from Denmark. He played the first couple of contender seasons in Europe, didn't do so well over there with his teams. Qualified for the Danish national, like the World Cup team this year. Most recently moved over to Contenders NA for Season 3 with First Generation, and now he's hopped over to the Montreal Rebellion. So this team is coming together, and on that same note, the team announced its staff members on Tuesday, February 19th. So their general manager is going to be Blizzard, who used to be the head coach for First Gen, Goats, and Eminent. Their head coach is going to be Dreamcasts, and their assistant coach is By Zenith. Also on Tuesday, February 19th, the XL2 roster was completely announced. And this one is a little bit confusing because, as you may know, they were trying to rework their roster to become a fully New York representative team. That hasn't happened exactly. So the roster now includes Jer, Yaki, Kirby, Frill, Rina, Mupi, Akawa, and Haku. And most of that team is American. 5 of them are, but only 3 of them represent the sort of New York area. So I get what the team was going for with wanting a New York representative team, but it did not end up happening. They don't have a full East Coast roster. I don't know what the deal was behind the scenes as to why that never happened, but this is the team that exists now. So Thursday, February 21st, some regions of Contenders kicked off Season 1 for 2019 this weekend. So if you're watching this video the day it comes out, South America will actually be starting tonight. You can see all the start dates for the different Contenders regions on screen. You know, this is occurring over the next couple of weeks, and we'll see these seasons start to wrap up and hopefully get some big promotion as we move into the Overwatch League All-Star break, since that's when sort of the Contenders playoffs will be taking place. But if you've missed the Tier 2 scene, it's back, and you can start catching some matches this week. And the rest of the regions will be kicking off over the upcoming weekend. Also that same day, the Philadelphia Fusion reported that Boombox is sick, and that's why he didn't play either of their matches over the weekend. Elk tagged in to play Zenyatta in both of those games against the Florida Mayhem and the Dallas Fuel. There's been no real update as to how Boombox is doing coming out of the weekend. Hopefully he's getting over his illness, but you could definitely see in the Fusion's play that they're a different team when Boombox is not there. So hopefully he's feeling better soon and is back in action coming up into the upcoming week. Now we move on to Friday, February 22nd, which I think will go down as one of the craziest days in Overwatch League history. I honestly don't know where to start. But let's start from the bottom. Let's work our way up to the madness. Friday, February 22nd kicked off with the Hangzhou Spark signing Flex Tank Sassin. This is an interesting pickup. He previously played for Foxes in Overwatch Contenders Korea, where they did not have like any level of success. Even going back to Apex, way back in the day, his team, again, was not that successful. The closest he had to success was a 3rd place finish in Apex Season 4, but that was the summer of 2017. So he's an off-tank for the Spark. I'm not sure. I honestly doubt he will be playing much, really, with Rhea doing as well as he has on that Diva role, just insanely well. I don't think that Sassin is going to be playing a whole lot, but you never know. Especially in GOATs where tanks are all over the place. You never know what the Spark feel that they need. So they've signed him going forward. Similarly, the Florida Mayhem have signed a new off-tank as well, McGravy. McGravy has had a little bit more success. In Contenders 2018 Season 1, his team Envision Esports came in the semifinals. Same thing with Season 2 when he moved over to Team Envy. And then 2018 Season 3, they made it to the playoffs but were knocked out in the first round. Nonetheless, I mean, for the Florida Mayhem, anything is necessary. These guys kind of need all the help they can get, so adding another tank to the lineup, for all we know, he might be starting. You never know. Yes, he has been added to the Florida Mayhem lineup going forward. Now we kind of start getting to the fun part. The Houston Outlaws have changed their just abhorrently awful hashtag from Texas Hard to Anti-Up. I don't know how Texas Hard ever got through, how anyone ever let that happen, because not only is it a like cringy sex reference, it's just bad. It's just not good. So that's out of here. Texas Hard is gone. Anti-Up, which is similar to their Season 1 hashtag, it's back. So praise. Just praise be. They needed to get that taken care of, and they did. Now we get to the really interesting stuff. Robert Kraft, the owner of the Boston Uprising, was charged in a prostitution investigation in Florida. Now, what does this have to do with Overwatch League? Well, yeah, Robert Kraft is mostly a traditional sports owner, but the interesting thing about this prostitution investigation is that the Overwatch League rulebook stipulates that, you know, if owners and managers and sort of the upper level of Overwatch League teams, if they're found doing illegal things, they can also be punished. And this puts the Overwatch League in a really interesting situation because this is the first really major thing that's happened with an owner. So you wonder, how will they punish him if it turns out that he is involved in this? I mean, first of all, will they? And second of all, how will they? What will the punishment be? Will it be a fine? Will it be, does he have to sell the team? Who knows? This is kind of going to set a precedent for the Overwatch League if, of course, and this is an if Robert Kraft is actually guilty. That'll be a really interesting case as we continue to go forward with it, so keep that in mind. We'll keep taking a look at that as we go along. So that same evening, Kraft's Boston Uprising was set to play against the Shanghai Dragons, and of course, it was supposed to be a win for the Uprising, no problems, but it wasn't. Ladies and gentlemen, the Shanghai Dragons, after 42 straight losses, ended up winning their first game in the Overwatch League, but you probably already knew this. If there's one piece of news that you did see, it was definitely that Shanghai won a game. But how did it happen? I personally believe that a huge part of how Shanghai managed to win was because Fusions was ineligible to play in that game. And it's not just that he was ineligible to play, but the Uprising didn't even know it until the match started. Here, what happened was, Fusions was called up to be a full member of the team, as far as like PR is concerned, but they didn't update his contract. The Uprising apparently did not update his two-way contract, which means that the stipulation about whether you can play in Contenders or in Overwatch League and how many matches you can play, that stipulation was still in place. And apparently, because he had played for the British Hurricane in Contenders Season 3, then transferred over to Uprising Academy, there was just this logistical issue that says Fusions cannot play more than 2 games in this first stage of the Overwatch League. Now, this seems like a huge oversight. You would think that the Uprising would have people that would take care of this sort of thing and make sure that everybody is ready to play, especially when you're dealing with a player who's still on a 2-way contract. Like, you think that that would have been taken care of, but it wasn't. And so, as the reports go, Fusion he put his peripherals on stage, like his mouse and keyboard were ready, and then just a few minutes before the game was supposed to start, referees told him, you're not allowed to play, you're ineligible. And so now the Uprising are scrambling, like who's going to play in his spot. So they had to put in Axiom. If your starter is out and your backup comes in without being really prepared or expecting to play, that makes a huge difference in your strategies and the way you approach the game, how you play, how you synergize. That was a huge, huge loss for them. I personally believe that if Fusions got to play the game that night, that Shanghai Dragons would still be winless. But that's not what happened, and now Boston has to go back to the drawing board, rework his contract, and hopefully get him to be able to play the rest of this stage, because I think he's a difference maker in that lineup. But we'll just have to see. If they can't get that worked out, they could tumble, and that would be really unfortunate for them. It's already unfortunate for them that they were the team that first lost to Shanghai, and yet here we are in typical Boston fashion, honestly. Like, what can go wrong will go wrong, and they kind of mess themselves up by not doing their due diligence. But on the other hand, it is also a problem for Overwatch League, because they could have told Uprising sooner, hey, just a reminder, just so you know, Fusions can't play this week. But they didn't. They did not tell the Uprising this until like minutes before the match started. The Overwatch League had huge oversight in not making sure that teams were aware of what was going to be happening with those two-way players, and they ended up issuing a statement regarding this incident, basically saying, like, here's why we have the rule in place, here's the purpose of it, but at the same time, we're sorry that we didn't realize he wasn't going to be able to play. We were sorry that we let the Uprising go forward thinking that he could play. We apologize. But that's kind of an empty apology. It's not like, oh, we're going to do better going forward, and here's how we're going to enact change. They just say, we're sorry. That doesn't really mean anything to me. Unless you say, from now on, we will publish a list 3 days before the competitive week begins, stating which players are ineligible per week. That would be nice, but that's not what they did. So nothing's going to change, and it's still up to teams to, take care of themselves and make sure that they're all ready to go, which is kind of as it should be. But at the same time, I don't know. I think Overwatch League also mishandled this by at least not telling them the day of the event in the morning. I don't know. I don't want to spend too long on that, but that was a mess, and Shanghai got a win out of it. Other interesting news before we finish this up, the New York XL, the Titans, and the Eternal are all undefeated. They're the only 3 undefeated teams out of the 20, with 4 wins for New York, 3 wins for the Titans, 2 wins for the Eternal. On the other hand, the Los Angeles Valiant and the Washington Justice are the only winless teams. The Valiant have 3 losses and the Justice have 2. It's interesting because, I thought that the Titans were going to be good. I thought the Eternal were going to be but when it comes to GOATs, of course, the Eternal are just amazing. So I didn't expect the top 3 to look like that, nor did I expect the Valiant to be at the bottom 2. Like, all things considered, yeah, if the Justice are number 20, nobody can say that they didn't see it coming. I personally think that they're going to get some wins coming up. But the Valiant, that's really, really interesting to me. Nonetheless, that's what the leaderboards look like. So as you can see on your screen, you can check out the matches that occurred over the past weekend. I personally did not get to watch very many of them. If you're part of my Discord, you know that my Overwatch team at my university was competing in the collegiate regional playoffs. So we were practicing a lot over the weekend and playing our games on Sunday. So I didn't really get to watch the matches. If you're interested, we won our first match by forfeit. Second match, we got rolled 3-0 by a basically Grandmaster team. So that wasn't a lot of fun. But it was a good experience. I really enjoyed getting to play on a competitive, structured team. It was a lot of fun. And I'm a little sad that I'm a senior and that I can't come back and do this again next year, because it really, really was a great Overwatch experience. If you're not on a team, get on a team. Get on a team with your friends, structure it, play some practices, encourage each other to get better. Join a tournament, because it really does change the way you play the game and improves your play when you're consciously working on getting better and not just jumping into comp every now and again. It's a very different vibe, and I really love it. So that's my 2 cents on competitive Overwatch. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully that these week's matches were good ones. If you have 1 or 2 matches that you think I should watch, I gave my suggestions last week. If there are 1 or 2 that you think I need to get caught up on, let me know. Of course, I'm going to go back and rewatch that Shanghai game. I was busy climbing up in Plat into in comp during that match, so I didn't get to watch all of it. But let me know what other ones you think I should check up on. And in the meantime, I'll take a look at those, get ready for Thursday's video, and I will see you all soon. This is the Haitian Homie signing off, and I hope you all have a great week this week. See ya.